Bienvenidos, worldwide fans of the planet's hottest entertainment with an edge. Jaime En Fuego here, welcoming you to my namesake program, Enfuegotainment. Yes, that is Reezy, and I am here to be doing another Rapido Fuego review, and this is a Fresca one. That's right, because this just came out on Netflix today. The harder they fall.
What exactly he do to you?
Call it a professional robbery.
I know who you are. That love. Outlaw hunts down those who trespass against him with no mercy.
Where is he?
Where is who?
Your boss.
My boss. Clearly, you don't know me.
And damn, was I impressed with this movie. Not just because this pretty much all-black cast is badass and stacked with talent. You have Jonathan Majors more or less in the lead role, but you have Idris Elba, you have Lakeith Stanfield, you've got Zazie Beetz, you have Regina King. I mean, it is just exploding with talent on the screen. And then you have a second-time feature director, I believe. He's known as the Bullets, but I believe it's James Samuel, I think. But yeah, this sets a tone in the first scene of the film that this is going to be intense stuff, seriously, and it really does not hold back. But yet there is comedy, there is violence. This is drawing inspiration from all kinds of coolness, and yeah, the story, while the ending, without spoiling stuff because this is non-spoily, I kind of had a feeling it might be the case, but it was still a very satisfying sort of thing. And yeah, so in the opening scene, a bandit, outlaw, whatever you want to call it, basically coming for a reckoning of sorts with a family. And then we fast forward a number of years later and we catch up with this character played by Jonathan Majors, who we saw as a youngster at the beginning of this film. And he is basically trying to track down this person who did some wrong to his family, and most notably the accomplice who had this scorpion tattoo. And yeah, it's funny at times, it is very well acted, incredibly well shot, bloody as all hell, and yeah, I have a soft spot for westerns, and it really turns into kind of this cat and mouse game of him trying to track down this character played by Idris Elba, who is basically broken out of imprisonment, a time when he's being transported, and then all of Jonathan Majors' homies and a former flame in Zazie Beetz, they have basically kind of banded together to go after said dude. And yeah, I just cannot explain the amount of style and just savvy radness that this film exudes. And once again, it does not hold back from just the shoot 'em up stuff that I loved so very much as a kid, and yet being the, you know, the Old West and everything. I mean, the scenery is beautiful, the costuming is kick-ass, it feels as authentic despite having some modern vibes with a little bit of the dialogue here and there. And the music, yes, it does veer into stuff that I have been critical about at times, where when it's supposed to be period specific, if it has some tunes that feel a little too modern. That's not to say that it felt ultimately out of place, because you've got soul and you've got gospel, but then you've also got kind of, you know, some westerny type, dare I say, like outlaw country-ish sort of musical vibes, and then there is even like reggae and you know, stuff like that. So it is a melting pot. So many different influences in this film, and I mean, Jonathan Majors is kick-ass in pretty much everything that I have seen him in. Most notably, you all know Lovecraft Country, that's what has kind of put his name on the map. And Idris Elba, anytime he gets to play a villain, damn dude, he excels. I know he has played a hero, you know, Luther and that horrible Dark Tower movie, unfortunately. He wasn't the problem with that. That was the script. You know, me being a big Stephen King junkie and everything. And Lakeith Stanfield, yeah, he for me was actually the best part of Judas and the Black Messiah, and in my estimation was the main character. I can't really say too much more without starting to spoil some things that I think need to be kept under wraps and secretive and whatnot, but there is, as I mentioned, a lot of bloodshed, characters are lost, and they hold weight when they do. And Idris, I can't say enough about, just as he unleashes, you know, the inner fury. It's pretty impressive to behold, but the ruthlessness from him and his gang is very apparent, very serious, and I loved the chemistry on screen between Majors and Zazie. I thought they just worked so very well together, and the fact that she is sassy and, you know, badass in her own right. Also, another character that is kind of masquerading as a boy, and you get the vibe very early on, if not immediately, especially for it being a woman, you know, in that sort of boyish disguise, and yet surprising everybody, except for one character in particular who was like, man, I thought I was sweet on the guy. And so that was funny. And there are just amusing moments too that give you the ebb and flow that you need in this sort of situation. Because these characters have so much character, that's why when those that get gunned down and don't make it, as we build to a final confrontation within this, it's so much harder in that regard, you know? And so I cannot recommend The Harder They Fall enough. It is exclusively on Netflix. Now, I'm not sure if it had a brief theatrical release or not, but I think this, especially when Netflix decided to drop it, this is most definitely gearing itself for some sort of awards recognition, and it most definitely deserves it 100%. This is most def a 4 out of 5 Fuego Fireballs. Dizam. This flick was righteously rad, and I cannot recommend it enough. Though, as I have forewarned, not necessarily for the faint of heart. This is not your John Wayne sort of Western shoot-'em-up stuff. So, I extend a grande gracias. I've been Jaime En Fuego, and you can find more on all social media sectors like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, here on the YouTubies, where a like, a share, a subscribe means a hell of a lot. Just yesterday, I put up my review of The Last Duel, the latest from Ridley Scott, and also some thoughts on the Book of Boba Fett, which is the Mandalorian spinoff that's coming this December. So that's going to be the end of the proceedings, everybody. Look forward to a review of The Eternals in the coming days, and probably the new film Spencer about Princess Diana with none other than Kay Stu herself, who has shown herself to be a very versatile actress in her own right as well. So I've been Fuego, y'all have been awesome, and until the Reel of Ka comes around once more, hasta luego, enemigos. Constant readers and viewers alike say thank you. I hope we have been well met, and that we share more of this palaver about the cinema sooner rather than later. And until then, yeah, in this case, most definitely stay home and stream The Harder They Fall on Netflix.